was just going to mention the ivies. They're kind of, as Tim said, they're kind of hard to kill. And one thing that Dr. Wolverton said has encouraged people to consider is growing them on topiaries. And I think we have one in the front there. You can have different, ways, because they'll tend to just grow and grow and can get a little straggly. But you can use that to advantage by having them grow over a shape. For a place like a kitchen or a dining room, because a kitchen and a dining room is another, I think, important place to really think about the quality of our air. And particularly if we happen to have a gas stove, just to preserve and utilize the plant's abilities to keep the air clean. Excellent.
Very good idea. Now, I know that many people are like me. The amount of time available in the day is that much. And I've always been a little shy of taking a lot of plants into my home out of concern of not having the time to care for them or the skill or expertise to care for them. But what I hear you saying is that there are a lot of plants available that don't require that much time or expertise to care for them, which do have therapeutic benefit.
I think that it's important for you to establish a schedule for your plants if you want to keep them alive. Probably the best thing is to get self-watering pots. You just pour the water in a hole, then you can put your finger in, and when there's water there, they're fine, and when there isn't, you add some. Instead of adding it from the top, you add it through a special hole in the pot. That's very helpful. And then you don't overwater it and you don't underwater it. But if you don't want to do that, if you set up a schedule, most of these plants do fine if they're watered once a week.
I can do that.
And that's it. We either overwater our plants, that is, you think, oh, maybe this is dry, I ate today, it needs to eat today, and so you water too much and you kill it. Or you go several weeks and it dries out and it gets really, really dry, and then you water it and it gets very, very wet. Plants really like constant moisture, but not too much. Some things like to dry out, like the orchids. They like to dry out, but many things just like that water that they pull up from its roots as it needs. And the self-watering pots work very, very well for that. It decreases your watering frequency, and it also makes it so you can tell just when to add.
Interesting. Very interesting. So some of the toxins that you mentioned, some of the zines, if you will, decrease in the immune system function. What are some of the other effects of perhaps some of the other toxins that we're exposed to on a regular basis?
Formaldehyde is one that we mentioned earlier. Formaldehyde gives several problems with our health. One, it is a known carcinogen. It definitely causes cancer. It can cause cancer of the nasopharynx, that's the nose and the back of the throat, because it's absorbed into our bodies primarily through breathing, and you breathe it there and it causes irritation. You may have gone into new construction. They had carpets, and carpets are often, the backing has formaldehyde in it. Caulking has formaldehyde in it. And you sense that smell and irritation from the formaldehyde. So it can cause cancer. It also causes asthma. It causes irritation of the nose and the throat and predisposes you to infection. Wow. So if we reduce those levels, we'll reduce our chance of developing cancer from the formaldehyde. Wow. As I mentioned, the benzene, toluene, and xylene all have effects on the bone marrow. So they increase our risk of leukemia. They increased our risk of lymphoma. They depress the immune system, so we're more liable to get infections as well. So it's very important to minimize our exposure to them. When I was in college, I worked in the chemistry lab, and I remember the teachers saying, be careful of the benzene, because it will get right into your system and depress your bone marrow. Wow. I'm glad they told me that, because I actually love the smell of benzene. It's an aromatic compound. and you tend to not be so careful with something you like the
Right.
smell of, but it's
Right.
actually quite toxic.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what an interesting topic.
It is. It's amazing. Would you be interested to know some of the plants that are specifically good for specific?
I would.
Would you? Okay. Just for formaldehyde, a Boston fern is particularly outstanding for removing formaldehyde. Actually, like a mum
Yeah.
plant that you would have in your house in the fall. The Gerbera daisy, really
That's
good.
this pretty pink one?
Uh-huh. The bamboo palm, rubber plant.
These are
Really
very good for
outstanding
the
for
formaldehyde as
removing
well.
formaldehyde.
I'm going to go buy one today.
Peace lily. They're really good. I think we have a peace lily in the
And
front there.
that gives you two low light plants that are very good for formaldehyde. The rubber plant and the peace lily both extract formaldehyde and clean the air well.
And for the xylene and the toluene, the erica palm, over the computer. Tim was talking about the computer. The orchids, the dragon tree, which I don't know if the camera can pick it up there, but I have seen a lot of those at Home Depot
Yep.
and at Lowe's.
Yep.
They're a wonderful plant.
And that dragon tree is good for the zines?
Very good for
Okay.
removing those,
Okay.
which is
Wow.
really exciting. Alice is doing a good job. So I'm just thrilled to come to an understanding that by adding these plants in, it can make such a difference. And I think even, just the green, just to have the greens and the colors in our house, I think it probably has a lot of benefits just on a visual perspective too. It makes the house feel more like spring and summer.
Well, I feel like spring and summer just looking at our table here today.
I
So this is
know.
great.